So first of all, thank you for coming down and being part of this.
Thank
I
you
was
for
really, really excited to interview you and to talk about this very important subject. But let's start off with introducing you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up originally?
So I grew up in Northern California. I was very close to San Francisco, the hippie town, loving life. So I started off as an exotic dancer, and I modeled in between the time. And I took a job with a company that sold really micro mini bikinis, and they were partnered with one of the largest cam companies. So I cammed for a couple of years, got nominated for Ebony of the Year in 2015, and then said, fuck it, let's cross over. So I was a gymnast from the time I was 2 until the time I was 14. I had a really bad injury, and it was kind of almost like the Bring It On story where I'm like a hardcore gymnast and I don't want to do cheerleading, but that was the only way that I could tumble. So I did cheerleading, which again, being in San Francisco, hippie town, party town, it led to go-go dancing. So that was kind of my first kind of introduction into like dancing sexually. I loved dancing. Like that was kind of one of the reasons why I transferred into adult, because I used to dance at some of the best clubs and see all the feature dancers. And it was one of those things where I didn't really know how to kind of transition into becoming that type of performer without doing adult. So just to see different women of different colors, different sizes, different ages being able to really express their sexuality was something that was really powerful to me. And then I kind of watched how each of them had their own specific fan base that was really tailored to them. So it was one of those things where with dancing, it's hard because you have to kind of play to the crowd and figure out who's there for you. Rather, cam, they're already coming to you. So you really just have to kind of keep them there and be yourself. And that was kind of a freeing experience for me because I've always kind of grew up with like it being like super taboo. So to be able to laugh about it or have questions about it or teach somebody about it was really exciting for me. So technically I didn't masturbate for the first time. Technically I scissored for the first time. Obviously that's with another girl, and it was my best friend. And so it was kind of one of those things where, I don't know, I felt like I always wanted to kiss her. And I guess she felt the same. And so we did one of those like little innocent kind of pecks. And that kind of led to us kind of just touching each other's body and like exploring like body language from one woman to another, because it's kind of intimidating growing up. Like you have all this pressure when you hear about sex ed and like, you know, dealing with a guy. And so it was kind of one of those like moments where I kind of got to be free and exploratory without feeling like weird about it. And so we went from scissoring, which was really complicated to do because we didn't know what we were doing, to ending up being side by side and pleasuring each other at the same time, which is really cool. So I definitely remember a difference. I don't think I had an orgasm at that time. I feel like as you get older as a woman, like your body changes. And so therefore, what you may think would be an orgasm might have just been like a really good climax. I don't know if I'm saying like the right terms for it, but not necessarily an orgasm. You are coming, but it's not like, I feel like an orgasm is something that kind of takes over like mind, body, and spirit at the same time, which didn't really come until later after me learning my own body, because that's really important. A lot of times there's a lot of misconceptions about how you're supposed to come or what's supposed to make you come. And as you kind of figure out your own body, I think once you kind of tap into what really makes you feel good, that's when you truly experience a real orgasm, because now your body is completely relaxed and you know the makings of it to hit the right spots properly to come. There was a lot of times where I would be like in the bathroom with the door locked, with the water running, to, you know, distract you from the loud Hitachi sounds and things like that. And then over time, I think because of adult, I think I started to just express more verbally, like out loud, like what are the things that I liked or the things that would turn me on or make my body twitch in a way. And that kind of opened the gates for me to explore even more. Because once you scratch one scratch, then you open up another and another and another, and you kind of, it's good. So I am a total outside girl. And there is this huge myth with guys where they feel like every woman likes her clit overly stimulated. And I think that's a myth that needs to be broken immediately, because there's so many different ways to please a woman. I myself am an outside pleasure type of woman. Some girls can take being penetrated on the inside, but maybe they need to be stimulated, in another area at the same time. So I think that's one of the biggest myths out there, at least with men. I think also there's a big myth that, women have to be private about, pleasing themselves. It's almost like it's shunned upon, like it's something that like, oh, our dirty little secret, me and myself. But I feel like as you become a grown woman and you're getting married and you're having children and you're changing your life for your family, I feel like that's the one thing your partner or partners would want to see you do is express yourself sexually in a really powerful way as a woman, because it starts here within it. So I have a really big pussy lip. And I like them. I always say, like, kiss them like you would kiss a person's face. Like, make out with my lower regions, make love to it. Like, look at me. I'm okay with spitting. Anything on the outside, vibrations, wetness, cold, warm, edging, that's kind of my thing as well. Anything you can kind of explore on the outside prior to penetrating me. Once you penetrate me, I'm automatically coming at that point, because it's like the overstimulation, especially with the edging. It'll take me there.
Can you describe what edging is for those who might not?
Yes. So edging is kind of getting a person to that place where they're almost about to explode, like they're almost going to come or climax, and then pulling back and kind of letting them calm down and breathe. And in those moments, I feel like it becomes more intense, because as you're breathing, you're now feeling everything at the exact same time from all parts of your lower regions. And so by the time that person goes back to stimulating you, then it's game on, because you already have that momentum that has been built. I think I love myself more, honestly. I think over time, I just became a lot more confident in what made me happy, especially as a performer. I think that's incredibly important. Because you're not always going to be placed with someone that you like or someone that you're attracted to, at least in this profession. And so learning how you tick is super important, because if you can do that, the idea, at least for adult, is to make someone that's watching feel as they're watching, I know exactly what that feels like, or I know exactly what it feels like to give someone that pleasure. And so over time, just doing it for work kind of gave me a strong appreciation for myself and a strong confidence for myself to say, hey, let's do this more. Or, hey, let me talk to myself as I'm masturbating. Let me look in the mirror and look at myself as if it was another person. And that way I have a deep connection with myself, and therefore I can have a deeper connection with someone else. Big one for me is testing. I do not care if you're married, if you have children, if you're lesbian, it doesn't matter. Go and get tested. It's extremely important, because there's a lot of things that affect women that don't affect men, or there's a lot of sexually transmitted diseases and infections that men can be a carrier of, but it will contract to a woman. So I think that that's incredibly important as women, to stay on top of your sexual health. Also, hydrate yourself. If you want to be a squirter, you got to hydrate yourself. I've recently learned that watermelon, being 90% water, also carries natural yeast, which is good for women for our pH balance. So learning little things like boric acid, cleaning yourself out before anal sex, things like that, just really taking care of yourself as a woman, because if your body is not feeling well, then you can't pleasure yourself the right way. So I think it starts there, and from there, you'll learn to just explore and learn and grow every morning. It's almost like the gym. Like, the gym gives you endorphins, and so does masturbation. Like, especially if you're fucking yourself, it's masturbation. Like, some people have this idea, like, oh, I need to climax every day, and so, they're in a rush to have like a partner so that they can have that. No, fuck yourself. Because if you do that, you're already happy, and you're happy with yourself. So can't anyone else mess up your day, because you already start your day great with yourself. That's my flow.
So what's your go-to way to do it every morning?
I am a Hitachi girl for sure. In the morning, because it's like a quick little zing, zap, wham, bam, hello. Sometimes I'll masturbate more times throughout the day, in which case I mix it up a little bit, because I feel like our body's going to get used to certain things. And then over time, you'll get stuck in that stimulation, and then you won't be stimulated from that. So I try to mix it up. But I do masturbate every day, at least once a day. It's like it's a necessity.
Okay, I have to ask, what's your average time with the Hitachi?
It depends on my mood. It really depends on my mood, because sometimes I'm extremely horny and I won't come. And the thing about the Hitachi, at least the old school version, there's only two settings. There's only a little bit of vibration and a lot of vibration. So when you're going back and forth, at the time it feels like edging, but if you're not coming, it becomes very irritating. So I think the longest was 30 minutes with myself. But on average, maybe like 10, 15. Sometimes I'm thinking, some of y'all. My best advice would be, if you can't please yourself, no one else can. Like, it's super important as a woman to just be confident, like, because we are women. It starts here. It starts with us. Like, this is what people go to of all sexualities in terms of like what's hot. It starts here. So if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to love you. So take the time, whether it's affirmations every day, whether it's masturbation every day, to really, really get to know yourself and really love yourself, because I promise in the future, you'll be able to explore a level of sexuality that you haven't been able to probably before.
Wonderful. All right. So we are going to go ahead and now do something that we have been talking about, but we'll save this for another series. So I want to thank you, September, so much for coming down and speaking with us today. We really, really appreciate your insight. And yeah, let's go do the thing.